Honda has now introduced the Showa twin-chamber cartridge fork to its model range. While Honda workshop manuals provide a useful guide to the maintenance of these forks, there will always be those little traps when disassembling them for the first time. This video has been created to explore this design. The twin-chamber design eliminates two basic problems found with cartridge forks. The suspension fluid not only offers a workable viscosity to the damper unit, it is also used to lubricate bushes and seals. Over a short period of time, contaminants will build up in the oil. These contaminants will often foul the compression valve stack, causing the damper to soften and collapse through its stroke in operation. This means the oil must be changed regularly. It takes a period of time for the action of the damper to reach operating temperature and for the oil to bleed down the trapped air. This aerated oil will affect the operation of the damper. The twin-chamber design separates the damper's action and uses oil left in the lower leg to lubricate the bushes and seals. The damper unit operates independently of the oil in the lower leg and is fully sealed, eliminating aeration. The Showa design chosen by Honda features a compression adjustment at the top of the damper and a rebound adjuster fitted to the lower leg. This is in reverse to most inverted fork assemblers on the market. This compression adjuster cap is fitted with a compression piston valve stack and one-way valve. A reservoir piston and spring are also fitted to the cap. The rebound rod is sealed at the lower end of the cartridge. As the rebound rod enters the cartridge, the shaft's increasing volume will displace oil through the compression stack and into the reservoir chamber. The reservoir chamber is of a larger diameter than the cartridge. The sealed reservoir pistons are then moved further into the reservoir, compressing the spring. As the rebound rod extends out of the cartridge, oil is forced by the spring tension acting on the reservoir through a one-way valve fitted to the compression piston. Before you disassemble the fork assembly, measure and record the length between the axle holder and dust seal. The measurement is used to ensure that the fork assembly has been assembled correctly. Both fork legs should be of equal length. When disassembling the fork assembly for the first time, great care should be taken. Many of the alloy threads are lock-tightened and can be damaged easily when undone. Hold the outer tube and remove the fork cap from the outer tube. The fork cap will be extremely tight from new, and it will pay to loosen it in the head stem. Slide the outer tube down so the dust seal is on the axle holder and drain the fork oil. The oil in the outer chamber should be replaced every 10 hours, whereas the suspension fluid in the sealed damper cartridge need only be changed once every 20 hours to maintain its action. Draining the outer chamber may take over 20 minutes to complete, and use of a quick-drying petroleum-based spirit to flush the lower leg will speed up the process. To fully service the fork assembly, exchange the fork springs or change the oil seals. The seal damper must be removed. Clamp the axle holder in soft jaws and remove the center bolt with hand tools. Exercise extreme care when removing the center bolt for the first time, as it is lock-tightened and the thread can be easily damaged. Apply light pressure on the fork cap as you undo the center nut, so that it will quickly extend out of the axle holder when undone. In this way, you will avoid damaging the start of the alloy thread in the axle holder. While still applying pressure on the fork cap, slip a yoke over the rebound rod as it appears out of the axle holder. The yoke must be positioned over the rebound adjuster's lock nut. Any contact with the rebound rod will result in damage to the soft chrome finish of the shaft. At this point, the rebound adjuster can be removed from the lock nut. Once again, care should be taken not to keep unwinding the rebound adjuster once it is past the rebound rod's thread. Damage to the rebound adjuster may result. With the rebound adjuster removed, a D-shaped tube will show. This should also be removed. The damper unit and fork spring can now be removed from the fork assembly. At this point, any work on the seals or fork bushes can be carried out in the normal manner. To re-oil the damper assembly, the compression cap must be removed. A grub screw is fitted in the side of the cap and must be removed. Place the compression cap into a soft jaw vise and carefully undo the cartridge from the cap. Do not lock the flat of the cartridge in the vise, as this may distort its body. Yet again, exercise great care on first disassembly, as Loctite is present on these threads also. Do not be tempted into using a hot air blower or any other similar device to release the Loctite on these threads. It is too easy to damage the O-rings and seals. Once the cartridge is loose of the threads, remove the cap from the vise and start to slowly remove the compression cap from the cartridge. You will notice the rebound rod retracting as you pull the compression cap out. When the rebound rod is fully retracted, the compression cap and, more importantly, the reservoir piston will stop moving out. At this point, place a rag over the assembly and pull harder on the compression cap. This will save you from the splash as the compression cap is removed. Then drain the cartridge and flush the damper with a quick-drying petroleum spirit. Resist the temptation to remove the rebound rod from the cartridge as the shaft seal is easily damaged. Once the cartridge assembly is cleared, fill it with 5-weight suspension fluid. It will be necessary to bleed the cartridge by hand, moving the rebound rod through its stroke. Then completely bottom out the rebound rod into the cartridge and fill the cartridge to the top of the holes in the reservoir. Allow the oil to give up any suspended air and settle. Now you will be able to slowly insert the compression cap and reservoir piston, letting any air and excess fluid escape out the holes in the cartridge reservoir. The reservoir's piston O-ring will seal on a small step in the reservoir, and the rebound rod will start to extend from the cartridge. Continue to push the compression cap into the reservoir until the rebound rod is fully extended. At this point, you will need to push firmly on the compression cap and start the thread. Once the compression cap is done up on the reservoir, push the rebound rod through its stroke. The reservoir piston will overstroke and the excess oil will escape past the O-ring, carrying any air with it. Repeat this step 2 or 3 times. Empty any excess fluid still above the reservoir piston out, as this will affect the working volume in the lower chamber. As a final check, the rebound rod should be compressed into the cartridge and let sit for 5 to 10 minutes. This will test the seal for the rebound rod and reservoir piston O-ring. If oil is leaking, this will affect the working volume in the lower chamber and the suspension will become harsh in mid-stroke. When fitting the rebound adjuster onto the rebound rod, take care that the D-shaped tube is located correctly before the rebound adjuster is tightened into place. This tube is easily damaged. The rebound adjuster will bottom on the rebound rod. There should be no more than 2 mm clearance between the lock nut and the adjuster at this point. This check will index the rebound adjuster to the rod and ensure that the fork length will be the same. The damper is now ready to be reassembled into the fork assembly. Once the center bolt has been threaded into the axle holder, the lower chamber can be filled with the recommended quantity of oil. An all height check is not possible with this design.